Hey leader, David Burkus here, organizational psychologist and author of 4 best-selling books on helping leaders and teams do their best work ever. And in this episode, we're going to talk about how to do remote team building. You know, one of the weirdest things that happened in the shift from most people working in a co-located office to many, many millions of people being forced to work from home or work from anywhere is people started wondering about the team. And I get it. We used to be able to rely on the fact that we were all co-located, the fact that we were in proximity to each other to build ourselves as a team, to develop cadence, to develop relationships. And then even when that was struggling, we could go somewhere together to a team building activity or exercise. There's actually not a lot of research that things like those ropes courses or log rolls or whatever people were doing worked all that well, but we could bring someone in and together go through activities that would help build a sense of teamwork and collaboration with our co-located team. And if you haven't figured it out, in a remote team, in a team where people are sometimes in the office, sometimes not, in a work from anywhere team or a fully distributed team, that's a lot harder. I mean, yeah, there are companies that are now offering Zoom escape rooms, but you're not in an escape room. You're in your office and you're just playing a role-playing game with everybody on your team. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons was great when I was 12 years old, but that's not the type of team building that'll actually help your team build a sense of identity together and a sense of shared understanding in each other's goals. In fact, most of what we need to do when we're talking about remote team building is not an activity or an exercise in the traditional way that we think about it. So no, you don't need to mail everybody their own ropes course and then sign into a Zoom call as we all struggle playing Spider-Man together. What you do need to do is pay attention to the activities that are happening on a more regular basis. Are they actually building a sense of team, or are they actually reinforcing the remote in remote team? And so we're going to talk about a couple different activities that are ongoing activities that you can pull from a lot that'll help you build a sense of team on your team. Let's get started. Now the first one, and I recommend this when teams go remote or when new team members join the team, is an office tour. Now this isn't like a grand open house. You could bake cookies, but no one's gonna be there to eat them but you. But what I mean by this is pick up the laptop, pick up the webcam, and show people around the environment that you are working in. Not only does this help us see more than that perfectly coiffed little square on a Zoom call, it also lets us see the context that you're working in. Different people work in different contexts. Some people get the benefit of a spare bedroom or an actual office in their home, and other people have to work from a corner of the dining room. So the context that people work in affects how focused they're going to be on a meeting, how easy they can respond to stuff, and sometimes people are working in multiple different contexts. So this is an office tour thing, can be something you show often. You want to do these office tours not only to do that context piece, but you also get a sense of people's personality. In the old days when you could walk into somebody's cubicle and see that picture of their family or that memorabilia from their favorite sports team or athlete or something like that, you could see that. And we don't get to see that when we are just limiting ourselves to the background that they chose before they jumped on the Zoom call. A word on here too, this actually means I'm not the biggest fan of virtual backgrounds. There are times to use them, right? When you're in an environment where you probably need to hide the background, that's fine. But the research consistently shows that people actually prefer to see your real environment. So show us your real environment. We'll feel more like we're there with you in person and more like a team when we can see that environment. Alongside that idea of an office tour, maybe this is something you could do on a regular basis with your team, because we all now know the environments that we're dialing into group calls with, is you could run a team scavenger hunt. And a scavenger hunt works like this. You're on the call, you could do this as a warm up for that weekly all hands meeting, and you just say, hey, everyone go grab 2 items. Go grab something that makes you smile and something that makes you laugh, or go grab something that keeps you productive and something that really tugs on your heartstrings and makes you, emotional, that makes you feel love, right? Whatever it is, you could pick whatever question you want depending on the context of the team. There's definitely times you might not want to talk about what makes you feel loved. You decide what those questions are. But the point is, people take 60 seconds, they look around the room, they grab those things, they come back and they share them. So for me as an example, when I do this, I always rely on my trusty red stapler. If you know what this is, you've seen Office Space, and if you found Office Space funny, you've worked in the type of environment that I, as a psychologist, as an author, as a speaker, as a consultant, am trying to crush. I often point this out and say how much I dream of a world in which nobody gets this joke because nobody's seen the movie, because the movie's not funny, because all of us work in an environment that is joyful. All of us works in an environment that engages us. So this is the idea. You go grab an item from somewhere in your office, share a little bit about it, why it makes you laugh, productive, etc. And in doing so, we get a little bit of that context, just like the office tour, and we get a little bit of that person's personality. We learn a little bit about them. I especially love to ask that thing that makes you productive question, because then we're actually sharing best practices for work from home or work from anywhere productivity. The next team building activity, exercise, routine, ritual you could do as a team that will build that sense of team identity is you could pair people together for Fika. Fika is a Swedish word. It translates as to have coffee, but it's about much more than just coffee. And a lot of remote organizations have played around with the idea of putting people together for quick chats, for hangouts, for coffee times. I like the term Fika because I love the way in the Swedish tradition it is so important. It's become its own ritual, and that's what we want. We want a ritual where people feel like, hey, every Thursday afternoon we pair individual people off, we take 30 minutes break together, and we have individual chats with people about non-work topics, things that get each other on the team to know each other better, things that let people talk about their whole selves, not just their work selves. I think this works best if you rotate through the whole team. Other teams experiment with randomization. Some whole organizations have people opt in and then randomize, so you're getting to know people from whole other teams. And if you lead an organization, that's an awesome idea. But if you just lead a team, if you just are a member of a team, this is something to pitch to your team is, hey, we could rotate through this. And in the course of 8 weeks, everybody on the team could have coffee with everybody else, could have Fika with everybody else, and get to know each other more. The key here is that these are non-work conversations. These are about getting to know each other as individuals and as the team, not a time to answer all of your questions about Excel. If you do that, if you stick to the non-work topics and you do this on a regular basis, you'll find that people build a deeper sense of connection to each other, and in doing so, the whole team is more closely connected to each other. There are times where you may want to pair people up to work together, and we would call those a different team building activity. We would call those work sprints. And in a work sprint, it's kind of like when you were in college or university and you would go study with everybody, where you go find a coffee shop and you'd all sit there and you'd be in your own books, but you'd be able to pop your head up for conversation. A work sprint works the same way. You jump on a video call with someone. I definitely prefer video because I love the sense that there's somebody else there keeping me accountable to work. You exchange pleasantries, you say hi, here's what I'm working on, etc. And then you get to work with the Zoom call staying on, the Microsoft Teams call staying on, and people knowing that that person is there to talk to. Anytime they get a little distracted, a little burnt out, a little frustrated. Some teams, and this is what I do a lot of times, set a timer and I work in a 25-minute sprint, and then we take some time and chat with each other just about what we're working on right now, any questions we have, and then we go back and maybe do another cycle or two. Work sprints are a powerful way not only to build that sense of team through those micro fikas that would happen in individual breaks, but they're also a powerful way to get people used to the idea that the team is there to help them, that the knowledge, skills, abilities, the past experiences, the strengths and weaknesses that other teammates have can help you. So instead of taking every problem a teammate has to the manager, the team leader, they now know because they've worked alongside that person, even if it's working virtually alongside that person. They've worked alongside that person. They know how to ask them for help because they know what that person's strengths and knowledges are. So not only does a work sprint help build that sense of team, it also builds a team that collaborates far better. And the last team building activity you could do, and this is sort of splitting the difference between a regular ritual and a true team building activity, is you could have shared meals together. We know from a wealth of research just how much people bond over communal meals. I mean, we've known as civilizations have known this for millennia, but there's a lot of research that shows everything from hostile partners sharing a meal together and then going better into a win-win negotiation because they had a communal meal together, to teams and families feeling like they are closer to each other because they're actually sharing meals, breaking bread together. And you can't bring everybody together very often, though you should if you can. What you can do is bring them virtually together and coordinate what the meal is. So my favorite example of this is a company that does a regular Taco Tuesday. So the first Tuesday of every month, the team, it's about a dozen people in the company, they jump on a Zoom call together and they have lunch together. You went earlier before that call and got takeout tacos from wherever place you want to go, and everybody talks about the restaurant they chose, the specific meal that they chose, but it's all in the same genre of food, right? It's all in the same flavors. And so there's still that sense of we're sharing a communal experience, even though it's a little bit different experience for everybody. You could also, if you've got the budget for it, actually send people that meal. You could arrange for individual delivery, right? Or sometimes teams have even bonded over, we'll ship you the ingredients and then we'll actually cook together for an extended lunch. That can work as well. Get creative with it. The point is to virtually recreate what we know works so well to bond people together, and that is a shared meal. What shared meals do is what all of these activities do, which is they go a whole lot further than the sort of Zoom happy hour mindless discussions that we all flipped to when the forced work from home or work from anywhere experiment began. They work a lot better than those puzzles or escape rooms or other kind of virtual team building activities that have been tried, because they're not a one-time deal. They're a regular ritual that becomes part of the culture of our team. And that's how teams are built. Even when most teams were co-located, teams weren't built through a one-time experience. It was how well that one-time experience could pull back to the actual office and affect the way that they coordinated and worked together. And the lesson from that isn't how do we recreate a virtual ropes course. The lesson from that is how do we build regular rituals, regular routines that build teams so our team gets stronger the more we do them. That's what we're looking for. It's not about a team building activity, it's about regular activities that happen to build the team. And if you do that, pick whichever one you want. Start with one and make it original to your team, make it feel like a ritual that bonds them together, and then add another and another if you see fit. But if you just start with one and you just start committing to those team building activities, you'll find that your team is actually closer together than they might have been if they were co-located, because you're being deliberate about those connections. And when you deliberately build the team through regular repetition, the team gets better and better. And that is our goal with any of these team building activities. Hey, thanks so much for watching this episode. If you liked it, make sure you're subscribed or following this channel. And if you really liked it and you want to go deeper, then check out the resources we have for you at davidburkus.com/resources. Guaranteed there's something in there that'll help you and your team do your best work ever.